Hello and welcome to the video for Thursday, October 8th for animation. I'm going to go ahead and let people in from the waiting room.
Morning.
Good morning. How are you guys doing?
Fine, yourself?
Good, good, good. Now, Marco, every time I see this weird drawing, uh, I think of Pink Floyd. Is this something you did?
Yeah, it's my online icon. So
It reminds me of, that kind of melty art they had on the Wall album?
yeah,
Yeah, it looks like that. It's cool. Do you know Dave McKean, the artist Dave McKean?
I can't say that I do.
All right, let me see if I can look up some of his work. Dave McKean, official site. Maybe if we go to his official site. Oh, it's in Flash. Wow, that's crazy. Who has a Flash website? Let me see. Let me just go to images. Okay. Um, all right, I'm going to share my screen. So, you don't read comic books, do you?
Oh no, I do.
Oh, okay. Do you know the Sandman series?
No, I don't. Oh my god, I just looked up.
Okay. So there's a writer named Neil Gaiman who's pretty famous in sci-fi and fantasy circles, and he wrote this series of comics called The Sandman, and it was illustrated by this guy Dave McKean. And Dave McKean has a really interesting style, but sometimes his stuff gets really kind of melty, like like your icon there. Like I don't know. Here's an example of some art that's kind of melting down a little bit. But he's also really interesting. He does a lot with collage, and he uses multimedia. Like he'll make a sculpture, like in real life, and then put a painting behind it and take a picture of it, and then draw on top of that. Um, so he's got some really interesting work. Um,
That is really cool.
yeah, he's really out there and pretty famous. And he may have been involved in Coraline, that Neil Gaiman's story. I think he might have. Yeah, I think he illustrated the original Coraline, which was turned into an animation. Did you ever see that?
Yeah, I saw Coraline.
Yeah, Coraline. Yeah, and then there's books of his art and everything. So this guy is just, I mean, super good, super cool. And here's an example of the Sandman comic, or a cover for the Sandman comic. I got to move this little thing so you can see it. But yeah, any of you guys that haven't checked out Dave McKean's work or Neil Gaiman's writing or the Sandman comics, you should definitely check it out. Here's a picture book he wrote called The Wolves and the Walls. Um, it's just a really rich resource for things. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Netflix or somebody like that, probably Netflix, has optioned off the Sandman to make a series. So you guys will, one way or another, this will probably come to your doorstep. But if you like reading source material, like you like reading books before movies and stuff like that, check out this stuff.
All
Uh,
right.
yeah. Okay, so let me go ahead and put you guys into the. Oh wait, there's some chat information here. Rachel says she loves this style, and Daniel says, "Good morning, good morning, Daniel." Um, so let me go ahead and put you guys into the attendance, and then we'll get started. So pima.edu, and we go there, log in. All right, and then go to the attendance page, and that is digital animation, and then okay. Okay, cool, got it. So now let me go back to the class website and go to the animation page. Okay, so I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to work with you guys on Tuesday. As I said on in my email and on the website, I had job-related paperwork I had to do. But I had asked you guys if maybe you could do the exercise, the cognitive drawing on that day. Did any of you guys get a chance to do that?
Yeah, I did it.
Okay. Do you want to up? Do you want to share with us? Do you want to upload it via the chat or I
Oh, it's
could?
in the drive.
Okay, I'll go to the drive. So let's see. Let me go here and let me go to drive, and then I'll search for Marco.
Yeah, it has the name body.
Okay. Okay. I have your folder. Let me share my screen. Okay, has the name what? Body? This one right here?
Yep, that's the one.
Cool. Okay, drawing from reference page, but only using shapes, right? Now it says, now take a moment to write down any interesting things you discovered. What did you discover about this, Marco?
That using only shapes can be pretty tedious. Like I know it was fun to do, like definitely, but using only shapes was like, all right, no line work, just see what I can do, and this is what I can do.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you did a nice job. It's difficult, isn't it?
It is.
Have any of you ever heard of this book, How to Draw the Marvel Way?
Yes, I have.
Oh, you have? Okay, so uh, let's see. Oh, maybe I'll go on Amazon and check it out because maybe I'll have um, some pages we can look. How to Draw the Marvel Way. Okay. Let's see. I'm hoping they'll give us pages we can look at. 3 images. Well, that doesn't sound very. Oh, look inside. Here we go. Go, 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 go. Okay. Um, so one of the things that Marvel Comics was famous for, back in the day, they had to produce a lot of comics very quickly. And so, they had writers and artists, but they basically had to do an inhuman amount of work and get it out the door. And so there wasn't time to just be very, careful and precise about drawings and stuff like it. So they came up with a method for drawing. It was called the Marvel Way. And basically what it was based on this type of idea, which was that you would draw shapes like body shapes and you would connect them together and then that would be the body. And it's not, and you wouldn't go sort of beyond a certain level of detail because you didn't have time. Um, and this unfortunately huh this book I was hoping that it would have some of the examples. What they would do is they would draw a circle and then attach a rectangle to it, and that would become a leg and a knee. And so it was called the Marvel method. And let me see if I can find any images of that, the Marvel method, and look at images. Um, it's just interesting because it's related to what we're doing now. And of course, when you try to look for something like this, you can never find it. But anyway, it's pretty much identical to what we're looking at right now. Let me go back to Chrome and go back to la la la. Don't tell me here. Yeah, so it's this idea that you would draw a circle for a knee and then an oval for a calf and then maybe a little rectangle underneath it to be the bottom part of the leg. And that's how you very quickly constructed people and got these drawings done, right? Um, so it's a pretty interesting method. Okay, so who else? Did anyone else have a chance to do this drawing? Let's see. Engine did it. Okay, let's see. And okay, and so that is this one. Nice. Okay, so you can see that she went for a little more of the blocky style of character. She's still using shapes, but they're more based on like rectangles and straight lines than circles, but it still looks really good. Now, have any of you guys ever heard of an artist named Bridgman? I know I'm throwing all these obscure references out there. You guys are like, what? Um, Bridge, let's see, I think Bridgman art book, sorry. Yeah, so this is it, constructive anatomy. This guy Bridgman is awesome. A lot of colleges and drawing programs use his textbook, as the textbook for drawing the figure. And here's some examples of his work. Just beautiful, gorgeous. Harkens back to sort of almost the Renaissance age of drawing people. But you can see he bases everything on geometric forms. Um, Let me see if there's more examples of this. Where he shows the actual. Oh, here's a good one. So you see how he's got these beautiful figures, but he's showing you kind of how there's like a rectangle, a three-dimensional rectangle there. There's one here, and all of his work really takes. Um, Here's another great example. This is a terrific example, classic Bridgman example. If you're drawing the human body, you can consider, and of course, the upper torso and the lower part of your body, the hips, they're rarely in the exact same plane. We tend to draw them that way, but sometimes you'll be moving your torso this way and your hips will be pointing that way. And he's just showing you that you can, at its most basic level, you can draw a series of three-dimensional blocks, tie them together with a string here, which will basically be the spine, and then develop that into an entire form, a figure. And he's showing here, you know how you can change the blocks, how you can show the different planes of the blocks, almost like a ribbon. And it's just beautiful. I mean, if you guys get a chance, if you ever get a chance to like purchase one of his books, especially like a used copy in like Bookman's or something like that, or buy something new, pick it up because you'll become a much better figure drawing. So he's got a series of books, and if you just look for Bridgman, you can't go wrong with this guy. Okay, so let's see. So nice job, Anjane, and let's see. Uh, did anyone else have a chance to do a drawing from Monday? This guy here,
Yes, I had some
Blake, you
stuff done.
go. Okay. All right, I'm seeing if I can see it right here. Is it this one? I see two. Oh, it's the same one, it looks like. Is
Uh,
this it?
yes.
Okay, cool. Nice. So I like this. I especially like this upper body. I think that looks really good. All of these shapes just kind of, adhered together. Definitely take on the form of a human body. And the human body is so complex, it's hard to remember how every single muscle and component looks from every angle, which is why it's hard to remember this stuff. Um, but using geometric shapes is really a great way to get started and to use it as kind of almost like a structure or a skeleton that you can hang your drawings on top of. So that looks really good. Let's see. Luna did it, but not proud about it. Okay, that looks good, Blake. Let me. It's okay. I'm gonna look. Let's see. Luna did it, but not proud about it. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean that happens. We're all. It's a progress for all of us. Okay. So you worked on this, and you're not happy with the results, but however, there are some really good things happening here. Like these calves right here look really pretty realistic, and so do these legs, these thighs. Um, we're all, none of us, I think, feel like we're ever drawing as good as we're capable of. And those of us that are perfectionists are very hard on ourselves. But, the purpose of these drawing exercises is just to have fun and get better. And, you're definitely doing a good work here. And if you get better, then it was worth it. So that looks good. Fat legs. Yeah. Yeah. Such is life, right?
Thick.
Did anybody else do a drawing that we could check out? Okay, let's see. Let me go back to the website then. All right, so let's see. Let me see who all is here. Participants. So, well, it looks like we're missing a couple people. So, all right. Okay, well, today what we're going to do is, now if you did not do Tuesday's drawing assignment, I'd like to give that to you as homework, just because it would be good for you to do every step in this drawing process, because everything builds on top of everything else, right? So go back, if you get a chance, go back, download this file, watch the video and do Tuesday's drawing and just throw it up in your Google Drive. It won't take long. It's kind of fun, and it'll help you in the process. Now today we're going to do a new drawing, and so we have to download a new file. This file here, and let me go ahead and open this bad boy up. Downloads day 9. Oh, I guess what I have to do is open it in Photoshop, so this doesn't help me. All right, let's see. So what I got to do is find it. So click on the search box and then drag this bad boy to Photoshop. Okay, and now there's 2 pages I need to open, and hit OK. All right, so like I said, we are building on top of the work we did the previous day, which is using shapes to create body parts. So let's go ahead and watch a little bit of Jason's video, and you guys can download those files and start working on them while we watch the video if you like. And then I'm going to switch over and start drawing it as well.
All right, welcome to day 9 of cognitive drawing. Yesterday we worked on the shapes. We kind of built shapes out of muscles, and we studied shapes and made shapes and shapes. Here it says, let's continue thinking about basic shapes. If we break down the human arm into basic shapes, it looks sort of like the pieces of wood stuck together. Next, visualize where the muscles would be if they were wrapped around your pieces of wood that are stuck together. Lastly, lightly erase some of the basic box shapes away. Careful not to erase too much. Draw the hand too if you want. Here, I know we haven't studied the hand at all. So this is basically a little tutorial of how to do it. And from our last tutorial that I like you guys to actually recreate the tutorial in full. That way it's like you're teaching someone else how to do it. So let's start with this basic arm structure, which is just boxes. Pay attention to how they overlap right here. That comes in handy later. Okay, I know I'm not drawing very dark. So we will now continue that. Let's recreate that same.
Okay, I'm going to pause that there so we can actually get to drawing. So there's 2 pages in the day 9 file. And the first one, day 9-1, you got to create a new layer on top of that. Get yourself a brush and your little tablet and just start drawing. Let's see, where am I? I always have to scribble somewhere to see where I am. There I am. Okay, so we'll go up here. So first one should be pretty easy because it's just these boxes. Okay. And we're supposed to overlap them the way he overlaps them. And then draw this kind of angled box here. Okay, boom. First one done. All right. Now we can go to the next one. I think I'm going to make my drawing a little bigger so it's easier for me to see this stuff. Okay. So now we're going to build that same box set again and then draw over it. Okay, so my computer's being really slow. Okay. Right. So I'm going to start out just exclusively drawing the boxes and then go back and draw everything around them.
Oh wow, yeah. It is being a little slow on you.
Yeah, I know. I want to see if there's anything I can.
Is it one of those settings? It was messing me up the other day. Spacing, I think, under brush.
I think I tend to have too much stuff open on my computer. Um, so, I might just go in and close some things down in a minute. But I'm going to see if I can make it through this tutorial. It's kind of painful because you start drawing and everything just starts disappearing on you. You just have to have faith and keep going. Okay, and then this thing was supposed to go all the way in here like this. Okay, so once you draw that, you can draw more shapes that represent the muscles. So this sort of triangular shape here. There's a line that goes up here and then goes over. Actually, you know what I think I'm going to do? I think I'm going to change the color of my brush for drawing these other lines that are going to be more like the sort of actual muscle lines, because it'll help me see them. Okay, then we're building the forearm here. So all right, I'm gonna see if I can close. What can I close? Okay, I can close this file. I don't know what this one is. What is this? Rocket. Maybe if I close a few, I'll get some of my memory back. Come on, it won't even bring this freaking file up. That's pretty... don't save. Okay, but you guys should continue on drawing that. Finish that second one and draw the third one while I'm closing some files. So slow. So incredibly slow. Okay, close that. I think all of these images are just photos, so I can just close them all. Wow, super slow. Okay. Don't save. All right. I think I can close this one. I'm hoping maybe if some of these are kind of big, I can close them and it'll give me some memory back. All right. All right, maybe that one is saving and then closing, and then maybe I can go back to this thing and work on it. I was doing that. Okay. So let's see if I can draw now. Draw. Okay. Down like this and like this. Oops, that's pretty bad. Okay, down like that and up. And then here. Okay, we'll call that good. All right, so now I can go back to my black and draw the boxes again. Let's see, box. Okay. This thing. I'm going over this. Okay, now I'm going to change to my red again. Okay, so now we want, okay, a red line going like this, coming out. Okay, I'm sure all you guys finished a few minutes ago, but so there's mine, and it's interesting. You learn a lot by doing this because you learn about the almost like the bone structure beneath the muscles, and you learn things like that this top muscle is kind of offset from the bottom muscle, the bicep, and the sort of circular shape of the forearm. And the square shape of the hand. So it's lots of interesting stuff. So now you can save this file in your cognitive drawing folder, and we can go on to the next one. So let's see. Go here to desktop. Okay, gotta go down to kind of drawing. Click on that, just save that. And then let's go ahead back to Jason and go forward in this video a little bit.
We kind of add a little bit of a triangle type shape. Look at that hand. That's a beautiful hand. Okay, so now that we got a lot of those things in here, we can kind of erase some of this stuff. Little bits. Most of it, a lot of it we don't have to erase. Let's kind of fill that in a little bit more. And see how suddenly you're kind of dealing with something that looks kind of like an arm. Ta-da! Congratulations, you kind of drew an arm. That is that exercise. I'll let you continue it. You can pause the video here if you want to work on that a little bit more. For the second part of today, we're going to just continue this train of thought. We'll draw all the muscles over top of these boxes that I've drawn for you. And you can see exactly how we're planning on them going. So let's see, let's just do that, okay?
Okay, so that's the second part. So go to the day 2 file, create a new layer, and just start drawing over that. You might want to use like a different, like a black brush or something like that. So I'm going to do this and zoom in a little bit. Close that up. Let's see. let's get out of here. Okay, so one of the things that I noticed is after you drawing for a little while, you start to get the hang of these little shapes. Like you start to notice that the forearm, looks kind of like a bowling pin, with these bulging shapes coming out. Well, one of the tricks to drawing realistic looking drawings is you never want to draw two sides of the same shape in the same way. You want to offset the curves. So for example, if you've got this bulge coming out like this on the top, you want the bottom bulge to bulge out a little further down, and maybe be a little more shallower of a bulge than this one, because otherwise, and you can see it better over here, um, and you can see it in both of these muscles. This one, the way it bulges here, and this one bulges down here, and then how these are offset. Because if you create them exactly the same, they become symmetrical, and it looks strange. It looks unusual and wrong, because in the real world, all of these different bulges and muscles are displaced. They're slightly offset from each other. Okay, so after you're done with that, go ahead and save that into your folder. And then, does anyone have any drawings they want to share with us? Either they can upload them to the chat here, or we can go out and see them in your drive. Just let me know if you got something, or you can type in the chat and I'll go look in your folder.
Just give me a minute to upload them.
No problem. That was kind of fun. I noticed, at first it's kind of scary, like you're drawing, you're like, oh, I'm not going to get that shape exactly right or whatever. But then as you start drawing, as you keep doing it over and over, it becomes kind of fun. And it becomes almost like a game to construct these geometric shapes. And by the time I did this last one, I was having a good time, And of course, it's not, identical to this thing over there, but it's pretty good. And it's not about making the perfect drawing. It's actually about feeling more comfortable with drawing. Because the more comfortable you are, the better of a job you do. And you have to be able to observe things and then replicate them, Okay, so anybody else besides Marco have a drawing or a couple drawings they want to share from today?
I got one, bro.
Okay, that's you, Vlad?
Yep.
Okay, let me see.
I got both of them.
Awesome.
That I put them in the chat.
Oh, my bad. Okay, just give him a second.
No prob.
Okay, Garrett put his in his folder, so I can go to his folder while yours are downloading. Okay, all right, so we've got Vlad's here. Okay, here's Vlad's. There's the second one. Those look cool. I like those. You're drawing with a light. Are you drawing digitally with a light, or are you drawing with a pencil?
Digitally.
Oh, digitally. Okay, yeah. Looks good. Nice shapes. Okay, and then, so that was arm 2, I think, and this is arm 1.
I switched up the names, I think.
Oh, okay. So actually, I have to open arm 2. Okay. And so then here's arm 2, and then your boxes look good, and you start building muscles on top of them, and then you built the arm and erase it. Yeah, I forgot to erase mine, but that looks good. I like the forearm. Might want to round this top bicep a little.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's looking good.
Sweet.
All right, so let's see what else we got. So we have Garrett's back here, and wow, that looks good, doesn't it? That looks like it came out of the book. Jeez. Got a good eye there, Garrett. Okay, so we got that one, and then we have this one. Jeez, those drawings are ridiculously good. Nice job. Wow. Okay, let's see. Arms 1 and 2. Daniel uploaded a couple. Okay, so here is Daniel's first one. Okay, nice job building the muscles, and then that looks like a really nice cartoon arm. Looks very realistic. And then I think this is the second one, yeah. Okay, yeah, that's a nice. You have a nice brush stroke, Daniel. The way that you draw these lines, it looks very pleasing to the eye.
Thank you, though. Yeah, I use the one on Procreate.
Oh,
For
you
me,
like Procreate?
yeah, I don't have my iPad connected to the computer, so I cannot like use Photoshop. So I use like Procreate most of the time.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's a nice brush you got there.
Yeah, I think it's one of the basics ones. I think it's the pen or something like called pen is
Yeah,
free.
it looks really good. It looks like a real pen that you draw in real life or something.
Yeah, it does, and it feels good. Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. Blake says he has some. Okay, maybe you can show this today. Okay. All right, that looks good. Good, and then nice. I like the different colors here. And then building the arm. Yep, that looks good. Wow, those shapes are really good. Looks like you used maybe a straight line tool to draw these here, and then just drew that one by hand. But that helps to the straight line tool helps you get really accurate about where your boxes are. And then that has some nice shapes to it, that arm. Okay, that looks good. And then this over here. All right, yeah, I like these shapes. Looks like a real arm. Very nice. Okay, looking good, Blake. All right, and Luna says, nice job to everyone. Anybody else got anything they want to upload? Okay, all right. Good work, it looks good. All right, the next thing we have to do today is we've got a animation video. This is 7th in the series of 12 Principles of Animation. This one is called Arcs. So let's go ahead and watch this little video. I think we're going to have to watch a commercial first.
Kayla was an amazing child.
She just couldn't turn her back on suffering.
This video is based on the 12 Principles of Animation as described by Frank Thomas and Ollie Johnston. Alright, the 7th principle of animation is called arcs. So very few organisms are capable of movements that have a mechanical in and out or up and down precision. Most living creatures will move in a circular path, otherwise known as an arc. So let's say that we were given these key poses and were told to fill in the poses in between. Simply taking the midway point between the poses will not work because this looks way too mechanical. The ball needs to follow an arc. Of course, we also need to consider the slow in and out caused by gravity. When doing this in 3D and motion graphics, we can achieve this effect by keeping the movement in the x-axis constant, but giving the movement in the y-axis a slow in and slow out. This will give the ball its arc. Now let's look at this head turn. Right now it looks pretty dull and straight, but if we add an arc to it, it gives it a little bit more character. Forgetting about arcs can lead to some obvious mistakes. For example, we may in between this movement by calculating the midpoint like this and cause the shape of the object to shrink. If we were to draw a simple arc as reference, then this movement would be a lot easier and more realistic. Arcs can be added to almost any figure movement. This guy is landing on the ground. Let's have his body settle in an arc. This guy is reacting with shock. Let's have his body and arms follow an arc. This guy is taking a step. Have his body move down and up in an arc before he even takes his next step. This guy is kicking. Have his leg and body follow through in an arc. When movements are very fast, you can add arcs in the form of a smear. Take the beginning and end pose and draw an arc in between and fill it in the same color as the object, maybe slightly transparent or fragmented towards the end of the action. So that's it for arcs. Next we will be discussing secondary action. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
Okay, I got to get my Adobe Animate started up here. So arcs, everything moves in an arc unless you're a robot, right? So let me go back to the website here. Okay, so today's animation exercise is to animate a character who is moving something in an arc. Now, that something can be their body. It could be a character, turning their head and moving it in an arc. It could be someone throwing a ball, and their arm could be moving in an arc. When I say someone, I mean any creature. It could be a dragon. It could be a bat. I don't care. And another possibility would be like an animal jumping over an obstacle that's in its way. Obviously, it's going to move in an arc. So let me go ahead and finish starting up my Animate program here. And then I'll go ahead and create an example of this, and you guys can create one at home too. And then we'll take a look at your examples that you create. Okay, so here's Adobe Animate. Obviously you can just hit create new, and it doesn't really matter what size it is because we're just doing animation exercises. And then you have to decide what you're going to draw. I think the idea of drawing somebody, let's see, some kind of creature jumping over something might be kind of fun. Of course, that becomes more complicated because then you have to consider things like squash and stretch too. I mean, it is easier to draw just somebody's head turning in an arc, or even somebody throwing a ball. But I think I want to do something a little more fun than that right now. So I have this totally tiny file that I open, but it doesn't matter as long as I zoom in on it. I can draw something, of an appropriate size. So I'm going to give myself a black color here. I'm going to see how big my paintbrush is painting. Oh, it's ginormous. So I got to lower that brush size. Okay, that's pretty good. All right, so now I think I'm going to make some kind of creature jumping over something. I think just for fun, I'm just going to make a background here. So I'm going to hold down my Shift key and drag my brush across the background here, and that's going to make a straight line like a horizon. And then I'm just going to draw some kind of an obstacle. Like I'm going to try and draw something that looks kind of like a log, with a little piece of it sticking up here. Some idea is maybe some kind of animal came across this log in the forest and like wants to jump over it. Obviously I could spend a lot more time doing a background and everything, but this is enough to at least give me the basic background that I want. So I'll go ahead and type in background, right? And then I can lock that so that it doesn't get, messed with, and create a new layer. Okay, now I'm going to make a super simple creature. Maybe it'll be some weird looking bunny type guy or whatever. And he's going to jump over this thing in an arc, which means I'll have at least one drawing of him standing normal, probably one of him, a couple frames of him compressing to the squash state, and then a few frames of him going up to a midpoint, a few frames of him coming down, and then a few frames of him, obviously he would stretch up when he jumps over this. He'd still be stretched when he comes down, and then he would, when he impacts, he would squash and then sort of resize up to his normal size. Now I'm also going to use the principles of like pose-to-pose drawing, which I really like, because then you can put, you can do all the keyframes in advance and then draw in between them. So in a case like that, I'm going to have to figure out how many frames I want to use. So there's going to be one of him standing here, and then 1 of him squishing down, that's 2. And then 3, 4 of him going up, 5 of him in the middle, 6, 7 of him coming down, 8 of him landing, 9 of him squishing down, and then 10 he comes back up. Okay, so that's pretty easy. So 10. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make my life easy. I'm going to make 10 blank keyframes. So that I don't have to do this again. I can just come in and start drawing. And of course, you guys are welcome to do whatever you want. Any idea you can think of that involves something moving in an arc. It says, is it possible to change the zoom feature in Animate to act like the zoom in Photoshop Illustrator? So that's a good question. Let me see. So my knee-jerk reaction is no, just because this program doesn't have the sophistication of programs like Photoshop and Illustrator. Now, so if I click on the zoom tool here, let me have something to zoom in on so we can look at it. If I click on the zoom tool, then we just have the regular, zoom in. If you hold down your option key, the zoom becomes a minus and you can zoom out. But then let's see what happens if you click and drag a marquee. If you click and drag a marquee around an area, it will zoom in on that, which is kind of nice. And also, if you double click on your hand tool over here, it will zoom out to show you the full page, right? Now, the other thing that works as far as zooms is on the Mac, holding down your command key and hitting plus to zoom in and holding down the minus key to move out. And of course, that would be control plus and control minus on the PC. But I'm going to take your advice here about zooming in. And I'm going to zoom in and then hold down my space bar to get the hand tool so I can reposition this log, right sort of in the center of my screen so I can animate all around it. So now what I need to do is I need to make it so that this background extends the entire 10 frames. So I'll go down to frame 10 and I'll hit my F5 key, F5 on my keyboard. And what that'll do is it'll insert a frame down there. And by inserting a frame down there, it will keep this picture on the screen the entire time. Let's see. And then William says, if you hold Control while you scroll the mouse wheel, you can zoom on Animate. Oh, let's see that. So let's see. Hold Control with the zoom wheel. Maybe it's Command on the Mac. My hero. Okay. All right. It doesn't work on my damn Macintosh. So such is life. On Windows, that is. Right. Yeah. Not a problem. I'm fine with where I am here. Okay, anyway, the F5 will extend that animation background all the way to the end of your 10 frames. Okay, now that I got that, now I think I'm going to try something a little different today. I think I'm going to draw in some blobby shapes that are going to sort of be representative of my creature. I'm going to do that first, and then I'm going to do my animation on a layer above that. So I'm just going to call this sketch. And in fact, I might make this, just for fun, I might make this a different color, like a light gray or something like that. Okay, so once again, I'm going to just draw some blobby shapes and then use those as reference to draw the finished one. So I'm going to go here, and my first frame is going to be the rabbit-like creature. That's too high. He can't be standing that high. Because here is sort of the foot of the log. So I'll draw some little feet for my bunny, and I'll give him a little pear shape and a head, little round head. Give him some wonky bunny ears. Some lines to indicate sort of the three-dimensional nature of his face, and maybe just some little wonky bunny arm here, and of course the tail. Okay, so there's a little sketch of my bunny. I can go to the next frame. Let's see. Now I was going to try and do all the keyframes, right? So, so we've got 1, and then down is 2, 3, and 4. So frame 5 is where I want to draw him in the at the top, at the apex of his jump. Now, one thing that I like to do sometimes, I'm a big fan of this type of thing. I like to actually draw in arcs and stuff like that. So what I'll do, I'll make a whole new layer here called arc. I'm going to go to my rectangle tool and change it to an oval. And then I'm just going to draw an actual, like, well, let's see. Let's change this so that it has a stroke color, but no fill color. Okay, and then I'm going to hold down my Option key and hit Shift and make a big circle. Double click on it to select it, and I'm going to try to move this down to where I think the bunny arc would be. Now I can center it over the log, and then of course it looks kind of small, so I'm going to click on my scale tool here, my free transform tool, hold down my Shift key and bring this up. Okay, so now that looks like the kind of arc that the bunny might take, but I'm going to move it around a little bit because I have to decide what this arc is going to represent. If I put it like right in the center of his body right here, maybe that can represent, you know, the middle part of his body as he's making the jump. And I have to also be realistic about how high he's probably going to jump up, so the arc can't be too high. So let me just for grins, I'll just put it down here. Now if I want, since this is on its own layer, if I just draw a marquee around any part of it, like this bottom part, I can select it and then hit delete, and then that goes away. And that's nice because now I can just see, you know, what I'm focused on. So that provides me with a little path for him to follow. Okay, so, and I'm going to lock that because I don't want that to get moved or anything like that. Now I'm going to go back to my sketch layer, and I'm going to go to 5. And oops, looks like I neglected to, because my screen was too low, neglected to delete this little thing. So I'm going to go back there. Okay, so now we're going to lock the arc again. I'm going to go to my sketch layer. I have to go back and change my settings here to a gray color. I don't care if it's the same gray color as earlier. I just want a gray for the bunny. So okay, so now the bunny is approximately going to be at the top of the arc right here, and he's going to be, theoretically, he would be at his highest amount of stretch, which would mean he'd be a little taller than he is down here. So I can draw this kind of pear shape of his body. I can maybe kind of figure out how his feet are going to look, how they're going to kind of sort of drag behind his jump. And then, of course, there's a tail. And then his head with his wonky ears. You know, I can make some indication of where his eyes are and his nose. And then I have to figure out what the heck's happening with his hands. Well, we'll just assume that they're kind of up like that. Okay, so that makes a certain amount of sense to me because he's halfway through his animation, he's right in the middle, and he's clearly stretched out longer than he is here. Okay, now the very last frame of this is going to be him in his natural, resuming his natural pose. So I can kind of cheat a little bit if I want. I can go down to frame 1. I can, let's see. I can go down to frame 1. I can control click on it on my Macintosh and do copy frames. Now I can go down to frame 10 control click on that and do paste frames. That's going to paste it in the same place, right? I can click on my selection tool, grab this guy, hold down my shift key, and move him over to the very last frame, right? And of course, if I take my onion skin and drag this little blue line all the way back to frame 1, oh, now for some reason it that's so weird. Okay, let's see. I don't know why it's not showing the sketch in both places. I mean, it's there in both places, but for some reason, maybe it's too light. Maybe the gray that I used was too light. I don't know. Weird. Anyway, he's in both locations, but for some reason he's showing super light down here. Maybe it's because it's so far back in time. But anyway, now I've got him in both positions, and I've got my guy in the middle. So I have essentially created the 3 key poses for a pose-to-pose animation. Now I can go back in and create the in-betweens. So, you know, it's nice that I was able to use this drawing as the same one over here. And in fact, I'll also be able to use the second drawing, which is him squishing down in both places, because it'll be the second drawing here. He'll start to squish down the second frame. And it'll be the second to the last over here, because he'll squish down before he comes back up. So I'll go to frame 2 of my sketch layer. And I think I'm going to change my gray color to a darker gray, because I don't know what was going on before where I couldn't see it. Okay, and so now I'm on my brush, and now he's going to be in sort of the same location, maybe a little, maybe his body will move forward a little bit, and he'll definitely be squished down. So I gotta, that foot was terrible. I gotta squish him down. So here's one foot and another. And then I definitely have to compress his body so that it's really obvious. And then I have to compress his head. You know, it should be lower on his body. You know, every part of him can be kind of a little more compressed. Even his ears can flatten out a little bit. Let's see, it's just, that's going to look weird if it flattens that way. Okay, and then we're drawing where his eyes are, his little bunny nose, his mouth. Okay, and then I forgot his little tail. So now he's got a little tail. Okay, and then of course I can go back and forth, and if I want to, I can do things like turn this arc off by clicking on the eyeball, so I don't have to see that. I can turn off my onion skin, and then I can click on frame 1, and I can use my comma and my period keys to move back and forth between these 2 frames to see how it looks. Now it looks to me that he's squishing down, but he's actually losing some of his mass. He's becoming a smaller bunny, but it doesn't look like the second bunny has as much mass as the first one. So I probably need to bulk up, I'm thinking just his chest and his head a little bit. So I'll go into the second drawing here and see if I can make his head a little thicker, a little bigger. Okay, that feels a little better. A little bit like that. It's just my sketch, right? And then give him more bulk in his body. Maybe I'll even take that out a little bit. So he squishes down, but he should have the same amount of mass as he did before. He's still a little small for the original, but I'll live with that. That's okay with me, because once again, it's just a sketch. Okay, now what I can do is, as I said, this drawing is going to be the same as the second to the last one. So I can right click on that frame, copy the frame, go down to the second to last frame. Now I got to turn on my onion skin again. it won't hurt to have the arc on as well. Go to the second to last frame, right click, and then do paste frames. Okay, now I'm going to get this little bunny, and I can hold down my shift key and move him over into, you know, his sort of landing location, and boom. Okay, so now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I actually have 5 of my frames, 5 of the 10 all sussed out already, you know, and 4 of them, or 2 of them, were replicates of the 2 earlier ones. So that's saving me a lot of time, right? Now, you know, now I just have to draw 2. Let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I got 10. This is interesting. I think I might have messed up my count a little bit because, oh, I know what's happening. I know what's happening. I counted a third frame where he comes back up to sort of his normal size here, and then 2 in between. But I didn't include that over here. And so actually what I'm probably going to end up doing is going 11 frames. Well, either that or go 9 frames. In other words, just put 2 in here and 2 in here. I like that idea a little better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift click on these 2 frames and just click on them and move them over 1 to the left. Then I'm going to click on this frame at the end here. In fact, I'll see if I can't shift click this entire column and just remove those frames. Okay, so now my animation is 9, and you can see it actually makes sense if we visually look at it, that there's 2 boxes here and 2 boxes here, so that gives me two frames to get him up to his regular high position. Now I'm using this funky Macintosh mouse that, like, you know, it's super sensitive, so you touch it and it slides all over the screen. That's why my screen keeps flying all over the place. Okay, so now I'm going to make a couple sketches of him, the in-between sketches here, and then the in-between sketches here. I can see how it all looks after that. So I'm going to go to frame 3, click on my brush tool. I'm going to, at this point, he's going to be leaping up, and it's going to be sort of halfway or a third of the way between here and here. So I have to try and make him, I got to figure out approximately where he's going to be. So maybe I'll use his head as a guide. So I think his head is going to be approximately here. And about that big, maybe a little bigger. I tend to draw his head a little small. And then, of course, his body, which consists of a triangular shape and a circle for the bottom. Now this time I made that circle a little big. Okay, and then he's got arms, which I think might be kind of a little bit down in this pose. Of course, he's got those crazy ears. Try to always remember to make some markings where his face will be. And then, of course, his legs have got to just kind of start to flop out on the bottom. And then don't forget the tail. Okay. Okay, and then that's a pretty weird looking drawing, but it's okay. It gets me from point A to point B. Okay, so now we do the next one, and then if I'm watching my arc here, I can use that to kind of guide me to where his head is going to be in between these 2 drawings. You know, where his ears may be, his body, his weirdo bottom half. He looks like he's a bunny in a diaper. Okay, and then his legs. Don't forget his tail. His arms have to start to come up a little bit. And then, of course, we have to remember where his face is. Okay, so now I've got this bunny leaping up. I can go down to frame 6 and have him start to, you know, come down. So I got to figure out sort of a third of the way between here and here. So that might be approximately here. And then his little triangular body, his round bottom. is tail, ears, face, hands starting to come down. Maybe we'll even see a little bit of that hand. And then his little bunny feet. And finally, about halfway between this frame and that bottom frame. And once again, and this is why pose to pose is so good. I have a tendency to draw everything smaller than the first pose, and like all of these heads are basically smaller. This one's much smaller than the original, and then everything else kind of gets smaller in addition. So the ears are too small. You know, the body is too small. This body is actually supposed to be longer because it's stretching. Okay, and then I gotta draw this. Gotta do the legs and the arms, and of course the little tail. Okay, so now that is extremely rough sketch of the bunny in all his different poses. Now, if I watch this animation, it's going to be pretty scary and creepy. But once again, a lot of that first process was just to figure out where things are and how approximately they might look, and then you can come back in and redraw everything, you know, as nicely as you can. So I can turn off my arc. I can turn off my onion skin. Go back to frame 1. I can create a little loop and drag it all the way out to the 9th frame. And I have a tendency when it comes to speed, frame rate, I'll go under modify document. The first number I put in there is the number of drawings that I have. So like 9 frames per second, well, that's going to go pretty quick. He's going to jump over this entire thing in 1 second. So let's put in instead 4 frames per second, which is about half. That means it'll take 2 seconds for him to jump over this. I still think that's going to be too fast. I'm just going to go with my instincts here. I'm going to put in 2 frames per second. Oops. Now that might be too slow, but you know, either way, we'll know soon enough, and we can change it. Okay, so I'm going to hit play. Yeah, I like 2 frames per second because it, you know, it very slowly goes through all the different, you know, phases of his jump. And, you know, he actually looks semi-decent. There's some things that are pretty clear to me, like, you know, obviously there's some junk in one of these top illustrations right there I got to get rid of. But also, he's stretched out too much right here in the 3rd frame. He should be, like, gradually approaching full stretch length. So that's got to get smaller. And I'll look at these downward ones. Yeah, the downward ones are actually a little better than the forward ones. Okay, so I can stop that. And now I can go up here and create a new layer above the sketch layer. And I'll just call it art, because this will be the final art. I'll turn my arc back on. Now in this new art layer, I'm going to have to go in and insert the blank keyframes again. Because I'm going to draw over my original drawings and try and do a better job. And I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this because it's just a class exercise, but you know, I at least wanted to get it a little better than the sketchy one that's there. Okay, good. Now, I'm wondering, do I want onion skin? Yeah, I probably want onion skin. It's going to get kind of busy with all these drawings. Oh well. Let's see, maybe I'll turn onion skin off and only turn it on when I really need it. Okay, so now I'm going to change to black and draw my first, you know, what I'll call the actual drawing of the bunny, and try and improve everything and try and simplify everything too. Okay, and William says you can also use the hand tool by pressing down the mouse wheel. That's good to know. Okay, so, I'll try and make the little bunny head here. And that head is absolutely huge. And I'll give him some eyes and a nose. All right, and then give him the back of his body. Give him that. And then a little bunny tail. Okay, now these legs, these feet. I'm really bad at ears. I couldn't draw an ear to save my life, but or like bunny ears, I mean, but maybe I'll try a little bit more triangular things. Just kind of, it can just kind of hang out up there, top of his head. Okay, now I can always turn the sketch layer off and use that as an opportunity to clean him up a little bit. Let's see. Not too much, because I'm not going to spend too terribly much time on this. But maybe just enough to make it look decent, semi-decent. Okay, so he looks okay. His feet are a little weird, but like I said, I'm not going to spend too much time on this. Now, once again, I'm going to use the same thought process. I'm gonna take this drawing and copy it and put it down at the end. So, Control, copy frames. Now I'm going to turn my sketch layer back on so I'll know where he was at the end. Okay, I'll go to my last frame and then edit. Oh, I'm sorry. I got to right click, control click on that and do paste frames. Okay, so now I can click on this guy and move him over here to his final position. Okay, good. So I've got 2 of my frames done already. Okay, nice. Now, I can go to my second frame. And in this case, I definitely want to have my onion skin on. But I can take my onion skin and I can drag this green thing back, this green line, so that the onion skin is only showing me the first 2 frames. So it's pretty crowded in there, actually. I'm wondering if I can do this. Now, this is not something I would necessarily recommend, but I'm going to do it anyway. That first frame is no longer useful to me of the sketch layer because I've already drawn a better drawing of it. So I'm actually going to click on it. And like I said, I wouldn't necessarily recommend this. I'm actually just going to click on it and delete it. And the reason I'm doing that is because now when I go to frame 2, there's one less drawing in there. And all I have to concentrate on is the new drawing that I'm making and then the original drawing that was here. So, okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and draw the bunny head as big as I drew it in the other frame, which is hard because I tend to make these smaller. Okay, I'm going to give him his ears. That ear is too small. Okay. Now I just thought of something too. Why not give him this little expression on his face when he's squishing down, like he's making kind of an effort, you know? So I can kind of close his eyes. I didn't give him a mouth, unfortunately, in the first one, so I'll stick with that. I could always change it now, but it's okay. Now I got to draw his body, but I have to be cognizant of the fact that I want to give him the same amount of mass. So I'm going to make him a little fatter down here than he would normally be. I can actually keep his feet kind of in a similar position to the original drawing. And now I got to do his arm, which I can do kind of like this, and his little tail. All right, now, once again, I don't necessarily recommend this, but I'm going to go in and delete my little sketch so that, once again, I'm just dealing with these two drawings, and that's going to help me be able to clean up these drawings so they look a little better. Okay, so we got that. We got to erase his tail a little bit. Let's see, there's an extra line here. Here, let's see, I erase this, and I erase this, and then, why aren't those erasing? Oh, I'm not on the right layer. Okay, I gotta go up here. Okay, get rid of some of his nose. Yeah, all that erasing I was doing was just erasing and coming back because I was on the wrong layer. All right, let's see. So we gotta get rid of this, that, and a little bit of his tail. Okay, cool. So now, if I wanted to, I could turn off the arc. I could turn off my onion skin. And I can use my comma and my period keys to show this guy, you know, going from one to the next. And he's doing something kind of weird. It's like he's kind of rocking forward, but it's okay. It works well enough for this. And he does bulk out. Actually, now he's bulking out a bit too much. Looks like he's actually got a little more mass than he should. You know, normally it's a problem that I don't do enough, which is why I overcompensated. So maybe what I'll do is I'll make this front angle of him a little more generous, a little less generous, actually, a little more gracious. Give him a little less weight in front there. And then maybe that will look a little more, it will reduce his mass, hopefully to something a little closer to what he's got in the first frame. I can't get this stupid thing. Okay, let me just try filling that in. Okay, and so now he's rocking forward and doing this thing. Now, again, I can copy this frame. So we're going to go copy frame. I can go down here to the end and paste the frame. I can turn my arc back on and click on my selection tool, click on this bunny, this sort of compressed bunny, and move him over to this location here. Okay, and then also at this point, I can erase, there's a couple frames I can erase. I can erase the sketch frame, which is second to last, and I can erase the very last sketch frame because I already have my guy in there. And so now if I want, just for grins, I can see what he looks like at the very end. I can go to the very last frame and then hit my comma key and then my period key and see him stand up, you know, from being squished down. So that looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Now I'm going to go into the middle. Why not? And try and create this frame that has him you know, jumping up like that. Let's see. Let me think for a second here. 15, okay. All right, I'm gonna draw this guy. Make sure to give him a big enough head. Of course, he's stretching at this point, but I don't think that's gonna matter much. Okay, his ears. Try to be consistent with the way that I draw these. Second one's no good. Okay. All right, now I got to stretch him up a bit. We can start with that part of his body. Add in this. Give him a little arm that's going up. Maybe 2 arms. Don't forget the tail. And then maybe his feet are just kind of dragging along like that. Okay. So now, once again, if I want, I can erase my little sketch down there, which will allow me to see this a little better and make some improvements to it. I'm on the wrong layer again, so nothing's erasing. All right. Okay. Now I'm not going to worry about this horizon line back here and the fact that the bunny kind of breaks the horizon line and you can see the horizon line through him. That's none of my concern right now. Just trying to get a halfway decent animation of this guy. But, you know, obviously you would go back in the end, you would probably fill him with a color, and then that would take care of the problem with the background. Okay, and then let's see, do I want this leg to sort of penetrate his body like that? Probably, to give that sort of three-dimensional feel. Okay, so that's good enough for now. So that's the bunny in sort of a exaggerated position at the top of the arc. Okay, so now I got to draw these other 2 positions. And remember, I got to remember that I over exaggerated him in this 3rd position here. He's actually too tall there. So I think what I'm going to do, because I know that one is kind of jacked up, is I'm going to do the second, I'm going to do frame 4 here where he's almost at his apex, right? I'm going to turn on the onion skin and go to frame 4. And I'm going to drag my green line forward so that I can see the actual drawing that I want to use. And now I can draw on frame 4 of my final drawing layer and try and get this guy, try and do a good drawing of him here at this position. So I'll try and get that head the same amount of volume. Make the ears look the same. Okay, and the body should be stretched, but not quite as far as it is at the apex. So maybe I'll make him a little shorter in a way, maybe a little wider if I can. Yeah, that looks about right. Put his little tail in there. Okay, and then he needs an arm like this. Okay, so now I can get rid of that sketch layer drawing, and I can turn off, what can I turn off? I don't want, oh, I can turn off the sketch layer completely, and then just start erasing on this layer. All right. Let's see. I drew so many lines that I'm gonna have to erase lines just to make them thinner. Okay, so this one has to go away. This has to go away. This whole one goes away. All right, and then that's going to be his actual body line there. Still pretty thick over here. And he's very thick here. And then this head is kind of thick. So, let's see if I can't get rid of some of that. Okay, so there he is. I might even just go in and start to show his other arm appearing here. But that looks pretty good to me. So there he is at sort of the apex. Now, if I wanted to, this is something I didn't do last time, but I could even take that drawing and copy it and paste it over in the other location on the other side. But I think it would be a little less accurate because he's going to be actually coming down instead of going up. I suppose I could angle him or something, but I think I'd rather make that drawing. Okay, so now, and the other thing about this drawing that I notice is it's a little too high. Because if he's moving in an arc, every part of his body should move in the arc, which means his ears are moving in an arc, his legs, his head, everything. So it's a little too high, so I'm going to reposition it down and over a little bit. Okay. In fact, I just noticed something. This is not, this is not necessarily what you would want to do, but I think this is going to work for me. I just realized that I don't even feel like I need that second drawing of him going up, because this drawing looks pretty good, and if I can kind of position it halfway between the drawing at the bottom and the drawing at the top, I think that might look pretty good. In fact, if I copy this and put it on the other side, like I said I didn't want to do, but I could try it now, I might actually be done with my animation. So let me try that. So I'm going to hit copy this frame. I'm going to put it over after he is at the apex of his jump, and I'm just going to take this and move it over to the same position over here. Of course, I can adjust that a little later on when I see everything. And now if I turn my onion skin on, let's see, onion skin is on, okay. I can adjust this guy down so he looks like he's kind of halfway between drawings, like that. Okay, now I ended up with a couple of extra frames here because I decided not to make two other drawings, so I can just do remove frame and then remove frame here. Now at this point I can completely delete my sketch layer because there's no reason for it to exist anymore. And of course I can remove frames in both the arc and the background because my animation is actually 2 frames shorter now, because I decided to have him just have a smaller amount of frames, right? Now if I want there to be a little more consistency in his jump, I could figure out which one of the, these two in the middle are at different heights, and I actually like this one better. So I think I'm going to go to the second frame, select it, click on, select this guy here. Oh, third frame, sorry. Third frame. And then try and bring this down so that it's it's about the same height as the other one. And I think that might look a little smoother. Okay, so now I've got it. So now I'm going to turn off my arc. And I guess I can leave the animation speed at what it was, turn off the onion skin, turn on the loop, and let's see. I think just for fun, I think I'm going to go to the background and I'm actually going to remove, oh, I know what I'll do. I'll take I'll take this line, which is the horizon line, and I'll actually just move it up higher so that it doesn't interfere. Well, if I move it higher, it's still going to be in the bunny path. So let me see what happens if I do. Oops. Let me see what happens if I can just delete this horizon line. Oh no, I want to lock everything else. I want to lock my art layer, and then I just want to grab the horizon line. Let me remove that. Just because I want to see what it looks like with him just jumping over this log, right? Okay. So now I can hit my play button. Okay, and then, obviously that's good for just looking at how everything is going. But if I want it to be a little more realistic, I could maybe bring it up to maybe 5 frames per second. Let's see how that looks like. Okay, and I got to loop it, I guess. Okay, so, that was kind of a long process of drawing and redrawing and explaining things, but the end result is, once again, while not perfect, is at least decent enough that, somebody who's watching this would get the idea, oh, there's like a little bunny-like creature jumping over a log. And, we're using all of these principles that we discussed. We're using the arc, which is today's lesson, and we're using the squash and stretch. And then, along the path, along the way, we're also using pose to pose, right? And along the way, while I was developing this, I made some decisions that greatly expedited the drawing. I was able to use 3 of the drawings over again. So the initial one, him squashing down, and then him, starting to stretch, I was able to take those 3 and paste them at the end. And so the only different drawing was the one of him completely stretched in the middle. So I only did a total of 4 drawings to achieve this. And, it's still going a little slow. So if we stopped it and made it even just a little bit faster, let's try 8 or something like that. It might look a little more acceptable as far as an animation. Because, of course, in animation, everything moves very quickly. So if you're going to see this bunny jump over something, you would want it to be as close to real life speed as possible. So you wouldn't have time really to dissect and analyze each one of these frames and see if it actually looked like where the bunny would be at that moment. In a split second, you would see this bunny jump over the log and you wouldn't think twice about it. And as long as everything was reasonable, you'd be okay with it. Okay, I'm going to stop that. Stop. And I'm going to save this animation. And this was arcs, right? So we'll go into cognitive drawing. And we'll save this as arcs. Now, what I'd like to do at this point is, give you guys some time to finish your animations. And then also invite you, if any of you actually finished an animation, to share that with us. Or if any of you have finished any other part of your animation project, whether it be a storyboard, an animatic, to share those with us right now as well. So is there anybody who has something they want to share?
I finished up the little arc animation. I have I think 4 or 3 of the still images I have in the beginning of my animation.
I'm not quite sure what you're saying. You have some things in your folder to show?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, let's go. Marco. Oh, wow. Man, full color looks great. Is this what we're talking about here?
Yeah, those right there.
Those look terrific. Wow. Look at the color on that. That's incredible. Okay, so this is her taking a little shot of herself, right? And there's her phone.
Yeah, like in the animatic, there's a few frames where the first few scenes are just like selfies that build up what's going on.
Yeah, that looks terrific. I love the colors. And then this is her actually going onto the road or something.
That's right.
She takes a selfie like every step. That's pretty funny.
See his little mushroom character.
Yeah, there's a little. That's a really cute mushroom. That reminds me of that other mushroom character somebody's got.
But it's like just a reference to theirs.
Oh,
It's a
that's
crossover. Avengers crossover.
Let's see. His name starts with a C, but I can't remember it right now.
Cicero, I think.
Cicero. Thank you. Okay, so there's the little mushroom.
And then Mama shows up.
The mama room, the mama mushroom. Oh, that looks great. And then the exaggeration here with the face and everything. So, so are you thinking that these? What? How would you describe these? Would you describe these as color studies or actual frames, or what are they?
I'd say they're like frames that. All right, so it's like in the beginning of this, it's like the first few things you're gonna see are like selfies of how she got to where she's going, to where she gets that tree and gets chomped by the big old thing in there.
Okay. So these will be actual frames, and we'll just move from one to the next.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Well, I think they look really good. Any feedback from you guys? Let's see. Rachel says, "Wow, this looks so clean, professional." Well, I have to agree with that. He's even gone ahead and done some shading in here to show some shadow. Now, what did you make these in Photoshop or something?
I made them in Clip Studio Paint.
Okay. Okay, cool. Daniel says the color is amazing. Same. Yeah, it's really inspirational. It's really good. Okay, very nice job.
And finally, I just got that one little file that says jump. It's not a GIF. It's a little file in there. Not the GIF. Not that.
Not the GIF. Not the GIF. Oh, the GIF's working.
I mean, it's working.
Oh, you want the jump FLA?
Yeah.
So this was that previous exercise that we did.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's see.
Real quick, and Adobe Animate question. I forgot. How do you change frame rate?
Oh, go up to Modify, Document, and then change it right here. You see it?
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, that looks great. It looks like a gumdrop who's had his eyes popped out. He was punished by the king for making a joke in Candyland, and so they popped his eyes out and put him in the nebula here. Yeah, I like that. So I like the fact that he's got a little squash and stretch going on, and you can see the impact that there's gravity and everything. Looks really good. All right.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Let's see. Blake says, got my animation in my folder. Also can change frame rate in Preferences tab on right side of screen. All right. Good call, Blake. So right over here, FPS, frames per second, you can change it there. That's a much quicker way to change things. And you have some other options here You can change the background color of the stage. You can even change the size of your animation. So that's pretty cool. All right, so Blake has his animation in his folder. Blake. Oh, wow. Maybe I should go to, I think there's an actual Blake animation folder, yeah. All right, show today. Is it this Nessie GIF? I like that. Oh my God, you colored it and everything.
That's pretty cool.
Nessie doing a little arc-like dive, huh? That looks great. I love the background. I gotta say, backgrounds add so much to an animation. I mean, they really are like 50% of an animation. You know, when you just have a foreground guy doing some action, that's cool. But the second you put a background in and color, you know, suddenly it's sparkling, right? That looks great. Okay, anybody else have anything they'd like to show us, whether it's a
I got today's thing.
you do? Is in your folder? Vlad.
But fuck it. Oh, I gotta turn it in there first.
Okay, well, I'll just stay on your folder unless somebody else has something. Does anybody else have? Let's see. Blake also has another car that he might use. Okay, let me go back to Blake's. Where the heck is Blake? Oh, wow! I like that car. So we're gonna see like the side view of whoever's driving down the road. Yeah, that looks really cool. I like that. I would definitely use that car. Okay, let me go back to Vlad.
Hold on.
Okay, we're still waiting.
Yeah. Technical difficulties.
Okay. Take a chug of beer or something and throws it out. What's what does that mean? Take a chug of beer or something and throw it out. Do you just mean I'm not sure what you mean there.
Where is it?
All right. Anybody else? Oh, the driver. Yeah, I thought that's what you meant. Like the driver of the car is going to take a chug of beer and just head on down the freeway. Well, that's always a good idea. There's no one around. It's a desert. What could possibly go wrong? Let's see. Luna has 3 to show. Okay, so we'll go look at those. Should be under Project Moon Angel folder. Luna.
Got it. There we are.
Okay, I'll be right back there in just a second. Project. Let's Project Moon Angel folder. Okay, so which ones are we looking at? Is the storyboard one, or have we seen that? Maybe you can type which ones we should look at. Arch. Okay, Arch. Oh man, that looks cool. Another person who did a leaping sea creature.
Is that a dolphin?
I don't know. It looks kind of like a shark to me.
A shark dolphin.
I like what you do with the water.
A shelfin. Yeah, the water's cool too. The fact that there's water that breaks when she breaks the surface, and water that appears in concentric circles when she hits the surface too. Yeah, that
Not
looks
gonna
cool.
lie, pretty dope.
Yeah, very nice. And Okami and Moon Angel animation. Okay, Okami. Where is Okami? Moon Angel Luna animation. I don't see Okami. Okay, but Moon Angel animation is probably this one. Wow, that looks really good. Looks like you put kind of a purple hue on her hair here. Maybe, and that's good because that would help have her stand out against the white background of like the temple. Okay, should be a folder animation. Folder animation. Sorry. Folder animation. Oh, inside the animations folder? Okami. Oh, this is where both of them are. Okay. Moon Angel animation. Oh, cool. You did the walk cycle.
Damn, that strut.
Yeah, isn't that cool? I like that.
That looks great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks terrific. Nice job. And then here's Okami.
Oh,
Wow. I'm jealous. I think you're having too much fun with this project, Luna.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna envy her if she has to animate all those tails.
Yeah, there's a lot, but I mean, she's seriously invested in this, and it's looking
Pretty
really
good.
great. So I think we're going to see some cool stuff. Um, yeah, so Daniel says he really likes the aesthetic of your character. Rachel thinks it looks good, looks great. Uh, and Luna thanks everyone. Very nice. Okay, so let's see. Now we have Vlad, right? Vlad. Okay, is it movement? Untitled one?
Yeah, it's Untitled too. I forgot the name it. Shit.
What is going on with this guy's arm or whatever?
Don't ask questions.
Don't ask.
When I was drawing it,
But all I have is
I had to-
questions.
I forgot I was using the pencil tool, and like after you're done drawing, it tries to make it into as straight a shape as possible.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So it looks like you got extra pencil lines down there that stuck around, kind of thing, or?
It appears so, unless no, he just cut it with his sword when he was jumping.
Oh, he has a sword. That's what I was asking. Like, what is that thing in front of him, basically?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he's pretty cool. I like the fact that he's doing this arc with it and slashing the sword through the sky. You
Yeah.
know, presumably to come down on some enemy. Like he could be jumping over a bush and then slice somebody's head off on the other side, right?
Yep.
Luna says, I think he's doing a dance around a fire. And Rachel says, I wish I had half as much energy as this guy appears to have. Yeah, me too. Well, he's pretty fun. I like him a lot. All right, cool.
Yay! Thank you.
Luna really likes the sword slash.
A.
Okay, does anyone else have any drawings or anything they want to share? Drawings or animations? Okay, so you know, I posted on the class website the sort of progress that we're looking towards to make these animations, you know, all the different steps. And everybody's at a different place. And like, I'll just use Marco as an example of somebody who's actually starting to do his actual animation. Now, everybody's going to be, like I said, everybody moves at a different pace, which is completely fine with me. You know, people are at different skill levels. They're doing, some people are doing more complex things like Luna. Some people are doing more simple things. So, you know, go at your own pace. But keep in mind, we're about halfway through the semester right now. And what would be really good is if you gave yourself the remaining time of this semester to do your animation, because it's going to probably take longer than you think. So if you can spend some time, perhaps over the weekend, trying to get a little further down this list, that would be really good. If you could, you know, if you haven't done a storyboard, do that. If you haven't done an animatic, do that. try as soon as possible, at least within the next week or two, to push yourself to the level where you're down here at step 7, which is begin animating the scene. Once you get all these other steps done, you can start animating. And of course, you have to keep in mind that there's going to be things that are going to come up that are going to interrupt us. There's a holiday. I think it's Veterans Day or something in November, and I don't know which day that is. It's the 11th, so maybe it won't affect us. But I think it will. I think it's a Tuesday, so we're going to have that day off. Then there's Thanksgiving, which of course occurs on a Thursday, so we're not going to have class that day. And then of course it's the holiday season, and there's only a couple more weeks of school. So before you know it, this whole thing is going to zoom by, and of course animation takes a lot of time. So keep that in mind and see if you can accelerate and get to the point where you can start animating in the next week or two, so that you have plenty of time to finish off your scene. Okay, anybody have any questions for me or anything else they'd like to show? Okay, let me show you guys, just because we have a few minutes left, let me see if I can find this. I think you guys might get a kick out of this. There's this website I go to, Boing Boing, and I don't know where the heck the search option is on this thing, but I saw this thing the other day that I thought you guys might get a kick out of. Maybe I can just find it by let's see. It's called Mass Mouse animation. Give me a second. Oh yeah, here it is. Okay, so somebody put up a post the other day that said this is one of the worst animations that was ever made, and so of course I had to watch it, and now I have to force you guys to watch it too, since we actually have time left in class. So let's.
Oh no.
Yeah, let's take a look at this thing, and then we can talk about it.
Will the meeting come to order? Will the meeting come to order? Friends, we've got a problem on our hands. The cat that's in this house is a disgrace to every mouse. We must let him know exactly where he stands.
Hey! Hey!
The reason that we fear him is because we cannot hear him. Why, that cat is just as quiet as a mouse.
Hey! Hey!
But suppose he wore a bell around his neck. Why, we could tell the slightest movement that he'd make around this house. Then that's settled, eh? Oh, I say, by the way, will someone volunteer to handle this? Perhaps I'm not being clear. Can everybody hear? I said, will someone volunteer to handle this?
Hey!
Me. What you got in the box?
Nothing.
Come on.
You really want to know?
Yes, of course.
All right, guess.
Something to eat?
No.
Something to wear?
Right.
Shoes? Belt?
No.
Tie?
You're warm.
Scarf?
No.
Oh, whatever can it be?
It's a collar.
A collar? Tab?
No.
Wing?
No.
Hollywood?